the hopes and expectations from this new year and this new government are pretty clear, and they're pretty clear to all of us. They're to do with all those basic parameters that we've been talking about for years altogether: accessibility, affordability, and I think I'd like to add one more thing: equitable distribution of healthcare. Healthcare for all. Healthcare should be delivered right up to the last person. And I think that is my hope. And in this new year, I believe a giant step needs to be taken to deliver that. I think cost of healthcare is a concern to all of us. I think it is whether it is providers, whether it is the government, whether it is the user. We are all concerned by the same factor. The cost of healthcare is increasing leaps and bounds. And I think each one of us is equally responsible to curtail the costs, i.e. through use of appropriate technology, not to overburden ourselves with expensive technology. I think it is imperative for all of us to make sure that technology and infrastructure are appropriate for our country, our environment, and we do not copy West as it is where it is. That is the part of the providers. And I think from the part of the government, there is a bigger paradigm. They need to make sure that healthcare is still something that they need to encourage, not tax, not charge, not prevent. And I think the cost of infrastructure today is so high, and half of it is to do with the legal, the land. All those issues are very complex, very costly today, and I think we need to take care of them from the government side. But in the last, I will like to mention the patient is also responsible for his cost. When patient goes for a small treatment, a small procedure to a tertiary care center where only tertiary care facilities are provided, and instead he goes there for OPD facility, basic services, I think he is shortchanging himself. He should use appropriate facility for appropriate treatment. So if he needs a liver transplant, he can go to a tertiary care, quaternary care center. But if he needs basic services, he should go down to the road to his GP or a primary healthcare provider or a secondary healthcare provider. Therefore, the cost will come down. And he should not expect high cost medicines to be given to him. He should make sure that the investigations that are being done are appropriate. And therefore, we are equally responsible, all of us, be it the government, be it the provider, be it the patient, in keeping the cost down. Today, we are fortunate that healthcare insurance is still pretty cheap compared to all of the world. So we should make sure that the government incentivizes healthcare insurance providers to increase their reach. And I think the good example should be followed from other aspects of government regulation. When government says that if you are providing services in metros, you must provide services in rural areas. So we must make sure that government inserts a clause in healthcare insurance providers, how many rural people they have insured, how many semi-urban people they've insured, not only people from metros and corporates they've insured. And I think only then we'll be able to provide healthcare for most of the people, not only few people who are fortunate. I think the real question here is that healthcare provision in India is mismatched, where infrastructure in few cities is too much, and 80%, when you're saying 70%, I believe 80 to 90% of Indian suburban areas, rural areas, semi-urban areas lack quality healthcare, or for that matter, any sort of healthcare. And I think as providers, we should take that initiative to provide healthcare in rural, semi-urban district headquarters. And Paras has done a crucial step in doing that. We've gone to Bihar, we've gone to Patna, we've gone to Darbhanga, which is a small district where no tertiary care, secondary care facilities available. But Paras has taken that initiative to go to those areas which are underserved. We could easily do it in NCR where there are 100 hospitals and we could have been the 101st. But we chose not to do that. We chose to go to areas where there is no provision, there is lack of provision, and there is certainly lack of quality provision. I think more of us, most of us who are healthcare providers should take that action and go to areas which are underserved today. I think it is my long-term vision and mission to be able to provide healthcare in areas which are underserved. And I think you can look at an example of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh. All these areas are completely underserved. I can give you a relevant example that In Patna, we have a PET CT that serves around about 14 crore of population, which is an absolutely astonishing number. Therefore, it is my mission to make sure that every person in these underserved areas get access to quality healthcare, and Paras is going to make a good and a big contribution in the short, medium and long term on this. We are interconnected not only in terms of provision of healthcare from doctors' perspective, but from operations perspective also. We share best practices, we share IT, we share financial software, we share hospital information systems, and we share all the best practices that doctors do, let's say in Patna. It is not necessary all the best practices are linked to big large centers in NCR or in Bombay or in Calcutta. The best practices somewhere can come from even a smaller place. So we've imported best practices from Patna. So we have weekly consultations between our doctors, between doctors and patients, between all these centers. So I think telemedicine, IT enabled services are crucial step in managing this paradigm of accessibility of healthcare. I think budget, again, I would say that budget is the same thing. Government increasing or decreasing budget will make some sense. But I think the existing budget utilization is a bigger challenge. How much of the budget is actually going into healthcare services rather than building and maintenance of healthcare services? So it is a really important question to ask for all of us, whether the government that is spending X amount of money, 3%, 2%, 1.5% of GDP, is being utilized in right areas or not. And I think that is the crucial question. So our focus should be on getting accountability of every penny that government spends. And I think if we can hold government and its people accountable for every penny spent, we have enough budget to at least increase healthcare outcomes by manyfold. The number of schemes announced by governments, and I'm not saying today's government or previous government, any government, if you just collated all those schemes, I think you would run out of pages. So the issue, and on the central theme, I again may be repeating myself, is again to hold accountable for the existing schemes rather than launching new schemes. I think it is really important that government, society, people look at few things and conclude those things instead of launching a scheme a day. I think the concern is to do with two reasons. I believe primarily there are two reasons. When there is cost of healthcare is increasing, the patient's expectations are rising, doctor's pressure is rising, pressure on doctor to deliver good healthcare with as little as money as possible and have almost guarantee of results is rising. All those mismatch in expectations between the patient and doctor is happening. And the biggest culprit is revenue expectations from both doctors and hospitals is tremendous. And I think we have to cut short that. Somehow we have to get back to the primary relationship between doctor and patient based on trust. But I believe second opinion is not such a bad thing. It is a good thing if more and more patients are asking for second opinions. It is a great trend. That means the patient is Jagruk. He's aware of his own disease. He's aware of his own needs. And if he goes to 3 doctors, wonderful. I believe it is a great thing for society. He can benchmark his treatment. He can get assurance. And he can perhaps even get a better deal from the doctor as well as the hospital. So I don't think that is such a bad thing. So second opinion, third opinion are welcome, but lack of trust is unwelcome. We should have trust between doctors and patients, and both are equally responsible for lack of trust. A good doctor's job is to make sure either enhance the learning already that patient has or change whatever his wrong assumptions are. So I think it is primarily the responsibility of the treating doctor to give the right information in the right way at the right time to the patient and convince him of the right options. So I don't believe that is such a big issue. I think they have the time. Whether they manage their time well is a larger question. And I think they should make sure that every patient that goes from their office is satisfied should be the criteria rather than how many patients he sees in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes or half an hour. Patients deserve the service, the courtesy of being listened to. And I think that responsibility will never go away from doctors. This is a right, and we should make sure all the patients understand it is their right to know about the treatment, be it drugs, be it investigations, and being any sort of treatment or intervention that is being asked for and done. So I completely agree with you on that this is a right and this should become a fundamental right. I think the clinical responsibility is the answer. Clinical responsibility by respective doctors. As an administrator, as a hospital provider, I can only suggest and recommend that every patient needs to be looked at as his own relative, as his own brother, as his own sister, as his own father or mother. And I think that approach has to be taken with every patient. If you do that, I think all your answers will come out correct. Would you do this for your mother? Would you recommend this drug to your brother? Would you treat this patient and this condition in this way if it was your own? And I think mostly if you do that kind of questioning on your own, you will get the right answer. I think I'd do one implementation instead of 3 implementations, because government announces 3 things, implements none. I am really concerned about that. So my whole and sole aim, if I became the health minister, would be look out for implementation of existing plans and existing services. We are very good at building infrastructure, but we do not manage the infrastructure. You can see beautiful hospitals built by government all over the country that are either shut, semi-shut or non-functional. So I think it is an easy job for a health minister not to announce new schemes, but to look out for existing schemes, existing infrastructure and make sure that is implemented, that is providing care, that is providing services to the patient that was meant to be. And I think that simply solves most of your issues for the near term. And I think for the long term, there are many issues, many challenges which we can solve, but let's solve one issue of implementation. Rest of it will take care of itself.